Good, happy Tuesday morning, September 24, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Manchester officials ask state for help to address rising homeless population. Increase in population use of spice also has officials concerned. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Kristen Carosa.
Ew! This water smells.
Smelly water is ew. It can be more serious than just the smell. At Captain Well Clean Water Center, we get the ew out of the water and make it.
Spice is a synthetic marijuana, a dangerous drug that can be smoked. Over the weekend, 18 overdose calls came in Manchester.
People were reacting with more aggression, so that's what was concerning.
Many of those calls came from the homeless shelter on Manchester Street.
This weekend was just an astronomical amount of calls that we went to over at the soup kitchen. And when we see something like that, we think that there's a bad batch that comes up, and we don't know what's necessarily in that batch.
In the last year, Manchester Police and Fire have been called to the shelter more than 600 times, double the number compared to last year.
We have been really experiencing in the community a significant increase in the number of homeless. And so what's been happening is our numbers are rising, and then we add the factor of the substance use that's also happening. We're really having a public health crisis.
The shelter is seeing roughly 160 people a night, numbers they normally see in the colder months. The city has asked the state to step in to help relocate people.
To help people access benefits that they're eligible for, Medicaid, really assess what are people's needs and how do we provide additional support so they can take the next step towards housing, towards treatment.
A homeless coordinator has also been hired to work on prevention.
If we can create a plan so that we can make sure that people don't fall into long bouts of homelessness in the future, I think that's where we're going to be able to make the most difference.
Now, since Sunday, there have been no other spice overdose calls, but the Manchester police chief is asking anyone who sees any drug sales or drug use to call the department right away. We're live in Manchester tonight. Kristen Carosa, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Group opposing Bible on POW/MIA display at Manchester VA puts up billboard on Elm Street. Matter to be addressed in federal court this week. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Charisse LeClaire.
Ew! This water smells.
Smelly water is ew. It can be more serious than just the smell. At Captain Well Clean Water Center, we get the ew out of the water and make it.
Remove that Bible, remove the Bible, and honor all veterans.
In 2 days, both sides will be in federal court. In Concord, the defendant seeking to have the lawsuit dismissed, it asks for the removal of the Bible from the missing man table. The back and forth has been going on throughout much of this year. Mikey Weinstein is part of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, based in New Mexico. They first asked the VA to remove the Bible back in January.
They removed the Bible in just about 3 hours when we made the demand. But 2 weeks later, it came back again, and shortly thereafter, it was put in a protective shield and bolted on that table.
He and multiple other plaintiffs say the Bible that was donated to the VA has no place there.
Either you take the Bible off or you have to put every religious text there or non-religious text.
The issue even reaching the attention of Vice President Mike Pence last month during a speech in Indiana. He called for the Bible to remain in its place, the billboard directly calling out him and President Trump.
Our U.S. Constitution cleaves a canyon between church and state. We think that the billboard makes that very clear.
Earlier this month, the president of the Universal Society of Hinduism, a global organization, requested the Hindu scripture also be placed at the table. At the time, the VA Medical Center said it had received no such request from the group. And tonight we also reached out to the Manchester VA for comment, but so far we have not heard back. Live in Manchester, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Man who lost home in Ossipee explosion. Flames were just shooting up the top of tank. Community stepping up to assist victims of fire explosion. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Tim Callery.
The Honda CR-V is perfect for people from all walks of life. From the daydreamers to the night riders, and the carpoolers to the lone wolves. Let's not forget the young ones, and those young at heart. No wonder people made the CR-V the best-selling CUV in its class. Hurry to your Honda dealer during the #1 CR-V event and get a great deal today.
Friday afternoon, Louis La Rochelle and a friend were painting in a room inside his Puritan Lane home when all of a sudden,
there was an explosion and the house shook. And we both turned around and looked at each other, and he said, I think it was an earthquake.
But Louis' gut told him otherwise, so he checked outside.
The tank was right there, and the flames were just shooting up the top, and the vinyl siding had already caught. It was all, the gable end was on fire.
The fast-moving flames consuming everything in Louis' home.
And I started to grab a few things, and then there was a second explosion, not as bad as the first one. So we just left.
His wife, Mariel, still can't believe what happened.
Still shocking with the stuff we had in there and everything.
The fire jumping to the home of Samantha Button.
We got a phone call saying that our neighbor's house was on fire and that it was spreading to our house, and we needed to get home as soon as possible.
The state fire marshal's office says the fire appears accidental, and officials believe a small propane leak was set off by a nearby ignition source. Right now, it's unclear as to what that source may be. Meantime, the community is stepping in. Abashan Hardware on Route 16 is collecting cash and household donations. Manager Eric Smith says offers to help started coming in immediately.
It's hard that a tragedy like this brings the community together, but it only makes us stronger too.
Now, both families say they are extremely grateful for all the support they've received. Abashan will be collecting donations until the end of October. Reporting live in Ossipee, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Summersworth parent calls for action after she says teacher cut her daughter's hair. Principal of the school called after teacher's aide came forward. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Mike Cronin.
The Honda CR-V is perfect for people from all walks of life. From the daydreamers to the night riders, and the carpoolers to the lone wolves. Let's not forget the young ones, and those young at heart. No wonder people made the CR-V the best-selling CUV in its class. Hurry to your Honda dealer during the #1 CR-V event and get a great deal today.
This mother is speaking out because she says what happened to her daughter should never happen to any child. Jillian Miglianico is horrified.
I don't want this man around my child.
By what she says happened to her daughter.
Is this real? Like, is this really happening?
At the hands of her 8th grade teacher.
He grabbed her hair and cut off like a good 3-inch chunk.
A week ago, Jillian says the principal of Somersworth Middle School called her after a teacher's aide came forward.
My daughter wasn't even the one to report the incident because she was like scared and embarrassed.
During class, Jillian says the teacher told her daughter to stop playing with her hair.
She didn't, and he threatened her and said, well, if you don't stop playing with your hair, I'm going to cut your hair off. And she was like, no, you can't do that. And he said, oh yeah, watch me.
Using a pair of scissors, Jillian says the teacher cut a piece of her hair.
She had to defend herself and put up her math binder to protect her face. I mean, anything could have happened.
Jillian is shocked by what she learned this morning.
He missed, I think, 3 days of school while the internal investigation happened, and now he's back in school, and they put her right back in his classroom. So it's basically like a total disregard for her.
Now, Jillian wants to see the teacher removed.
If you're going to act like that with a middle school student, I don't think that you should be able to be around and teach middle school students.
The superintendent says his office is investigating and is taking the situation very seriously, but says right now he can't comment further as this involves a minor. In Somersworth, Mike Cronin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Delta takes control of every gate at Logan's Airport in Terminal A. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
Visit OasisShowerDoors.com and use our estimator tool to design the perfect shower for your home. Whether it's a frameless shower door, steam enclosure, tub slider, or spray panel, let us create your personal oasis at OasisShowerDoors.com.
This day has been 20 years in the making.
The official opening of Delta's new Boston hub, finally.
There's not many communities in the U.S. that have an airport that's as nice as Terminal A here at Logan.
Delta's CEO a bit biased considering the airline built Terminal A with Massport. Delta just didn't get to move in because it went bankrupt in 2005. Strong profits in Boston now, a doubling in size over the past 3 years, has the airline refocused on Logan. This hub status will mean more flights in the U.S. and to locations around the world.
To Edinburgh, Lisbon, we've launched Amsterdam with KLM. We've launched more flights to London with Virgin. We'll be launching Gatwick next week, I believe.
This happy couple is already taking advantage.
It's definitely great for us because we're heading to Scotland for a honeymoon, and it was a great opportunity to see Delta on the list of flights to go on.
The obvious question is, can the infrastructure at our aging, already congested airport handle more travelers? There is a $2 billion plan for that.
Logan Forward is our plan to build a better airport, and that includes modernizing our facilities, improving our roadways.
Delta plans to offer 200 flights a day by the fall of 2021, hitting the 200 mark, a goal of competitor JetBlue as well.
Certainly this is an airport that has room for 2 big carriers in it, and we're happy to compete.
Delta also happy to announce they'll soon be flying to Rome and adding another flight to Paris. Travelers do need to be patient with Logan Forward, though that improvement plan is not set to be complete until 2023. In the meantime, Massport says they'll be doing their best to make customers aware of changes due to construction.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. futures point to higher open on Wall Street. Stocks were higher Tuesday morning. Nancy Pelosi hints at impeachment aimed Trump whistleblower flap. Let's take a listen to the video from ABC News.
This phone call is under scrutiny because of that whistleblower who came forward. And tonight, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, already under growing pressure to move forward with impeachment, she is now issuing an ultimatum to the Trump White House. Release the whistleblower's complaint by Thursday or face, quote, a new level of investigation. What does that now mean? Here's Mary Bruce on the Hill.
If the Trump administration doesn't hand over the whistleblower complaint by Thursday, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is now hinting at impeachment, warning they will be entering a grave new chapter of lawlessness, which will take us into a whole new stage of investigation. Now, even Democrats who have resisted calls to impeach say they may have little choice.
He may force us to go down this road, and we may very well have crossed the Rubicon here.
The Inspector General determined the whistleblower's complaint was credible and of urgent concern. But on Twitter today, the president questioned the whistleblower's patriotism, asking, is he on our country's side? Where does he come from? For some Democrats, impeachment is long overdue. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tweeting, the bigger national scandal isn't the president's law-breaking behavior, it is the Democratic Party's refusal to impeach him for it. While Republican leaders, largely silent. One exception, Senator Mitt Romney, tweeting, if the president asked or pressured Ukraine's president to investigate his political rival, it would be troubling in the extreme. And tonight saying the Trump administration should hand over the whistleblower complaint. And if they don't?
Well, that'll be up to the House to decide how to proceed.
So let's get right to Mary Bruce. She's with us live as well tonight. She's from the Hill, and Mary, all eyes have been on Speaker Pelosi when it comes to impeachment. And you've reported here she has repeatedly called for restraint, saying follow the facts. But this sounded like an escalation from the Speaker.
Well, David, for months, the Speaker has been walking this very fine line here, but now we are seeing a notable shift. The Speaker didn't even mention the word impeachment, but David, she didn't have to. It is clear she's suggesting this is now a possibility. David.
Mary Bruce, live in Washington. Thank you.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.